Hello, everyone. Let me just try one more time. Hello, everyone. Good to meet all of you. Such a pleasure and honor to be here sitting next with such capacities at the panel. For today's session, I'm going to be moderating, which is a big honor. Thank you, Renee Tan, for giving me this opportunity and entrusting me with the audience, of course, and every participant. I just want to go like a 15-second, 30 seconds, so less brief about myself as well, so people have an idea. My name is Victor, and I am basically within private equity. I had a company back in 2016 that I managed to grow and scale into multiple countries in Europe. I made a humble exit in 21, and then I ventured into the VC and private equity space, where I basically look at acquisitions in manufacturing and in tech. So this event became quite familiar with that. Recently, the last 9 months, I've been living in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. I would say 4 kgs and 15 nasi lemaks later, I'm still happy being here, I must admit. So thank you for that. I'm honored to represent these incredible individuals who has a fantastic background. I know we heard a little bit, I'm just gonna add up the spice on that as well. We have, of course, Yvonne Keil, 20 plus years in the semiconducting industry, automation and in the supply chain. And also has been renowned actually last year as being one of the top female voice and received an award for that as well. So very impressive. And then we have Mr. Choong, Foong, which is basically the wizard of data integration and data analytics, who's going to be sharing some insights as well with us today. And then we have Dr. Yongji, which is I would say, the leading specialist in healthcare R&D, and knows everything within how to integrate all the medical sector with AI, and very, very interesting. I think the world definitely is going to go more towards that as well. So, and last but not least, Mr. Yongji, we have here with us, which is basically the oracle, everything in terms of the predictive AI, hashtag no pressure, by the way, but everything in terms of the AI, predictive AI, forecasting. I believe also there would be a lot of digital twin simulations in your era as well. So can we just give them a hand of applause just for being here today? How do you see the innovation, and how do you see the future moving forward into the Industry 5.0, Yvonne? Like what is your perspective on that?
To look to my perspective, so me coming from manufacturing and really looking to the front-end manufacturing, I will look a bit what does it mean for us. We talked in the panel before a lot about where are the majority of the industries here in Penang, and it's a lot of test and back-end facilities. My world I come from is front-end manufacturing. So all of our fabs worldwide are front-end manufacturing. That means we are already at the point where we are at 98% automation. So what we talked about in Industry 4.0 is there. So for me, the question is now, with artificial intelligence and with all that coming up, what's next for us? And what's next for us is really, how can we have in the vision at one point in time, not 5, 6 fully automated fabs. How can we have one global virtual fab footprint, which we use the best? For that, that's really the vision we are in. How can we use, globally set virtually, the best way our human resources we have, our talents in the right way? And I will talk later in the afternoon about that more. And in the next step for artificial intelligence, how can we do things more easier? What needs to be still decided by a human? The data is now all online for us. It is all automated. How can that be fully decided by artificial intelligence? So how much can be automated, and when exactly only the human needs to come in? So for us, that are the challenges of the next 3 years to go to this next step. And that's really what I see. So a lot of decisions will be made by artificial intelligence, also in manufacturing. And we will talk later about the challenges for a lot of industries is, are we already at this level of data transparency and automation?
Artificial intelligence feeds on data. So what the biggest value that artificial intelligence brings is we are seeing a growth of data. Imagine even our personal devices like a watch has already throwing out a lot of data. Now, as a human being, we can able to do a lot with those data, but as the volume of data starts to increase, we need some form of intelligence to actually bring this and organize it together, right? So the value of artificial intelligence in the future is that we're going to have more and more of such data. How to organize it, how to connect it, bring it together, and then narrow it down to a sizable knowledge that we can actually take use of. I think that's important. So that's how I see how artificial intelligence is going to play in the future as we have more and more data coming in.
In terms of simulations, and we're looking at digital twin, and this is the buzzword that everybody likes, but nobody wants to adopt, right? So, or they want to, but they maybe can't. So how would you see? Because unless you get any kind of governmental incentives, or unless you're a very, very fortunate enterprise who has the liquidity to go through that road and would make the digital twins and simulation of whatever, how do you see the future of all the the competition? Yeah, how do you see the competition in terms of the companies who are not necessarily able to make the digital twins to do the predictions? Will you see a fractional solution? Would you see like a lease solution, or how do you see the future in that? Because I think one thing is the digital twin. The second thing is the adoption. How do you see that fold out over the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Yes, it is a big question for a lot of industry. One of the things that we were able to view, the first question that has been asked always is, we invest so much money into building up a server, we build such much money to put up a farm to be able to help us. But what is the utilization? What is the outcome? Obviously, the interesting part is the AI has been written in such a way that they will also check how much is the utilization of those system and equipment. And those are big companies, they are able to afford it. I guess the important part on the smaller players, it is the hard part of how much money do I willing to pay to get all this, and what does it translate to? That is one of the leap of faith that a lot of small companies have to take and understand. You may not need to invest the whole shebang that you would need to every single one, but you may go for a smaller scale modeling, that you may go adopt small agentic AI for this only. You may not go for whole pipeline. As you can see, as the return comes back, you can go up the stream and go ahead and apply that. I don't think there are going to be all small companies that are going to be jump all in and hopefully it turn them into a very profitable thing. But it has to be smaller step, but it has to start.
Makes a lot of sense.
ROI is is something that can be very difficult to chase down. But however, like what CC says, be very targeted specifically in a certain area, look for the value in that particular area, build the model, which I think CC had already talked about it, and that you ingest data, bring a model, you can predict over this. Once that value comes in, then you can see the outcome. The company will give you more confidence to invest more and do not boil the ocean by placing a multi-billion-dollar digital twin without actually getting the returns. No investors will actually put those money in there. An example which I had is that we spent time first connecting the data across the value chain. Then from the field, we found failures. And of course, the failures can be in different parts. It could be the process problem. It could be a design problem. All right? It could even be a material problem, whatnot. We're able to then trace back down and say, okay, now, this leads to design, for example. With that, this data is able to correct and even model in advance that if future scenarios like this comes in, we are able to make sure that we do not have this leaked up to the market. That saves a lot of money. Imagine if you are recalling your parts. That's a lot of money and also brand damaging. Those are ROI that you can actually quantify subsequently. So with that, you can see you can do it with a very small scale, get it right, get the outcome that you require, translate it to the ROI, then start to build the confidence of the investors to build more.
Yeah, I just want to comment a bit on that as well. I think you're totally right. I think also this whole thing about we paying for data. So in my former company that I sold back in the day, this was maybe a very small example, but I hope it makes sense, or else please correct me. And I was paying a lot of money for marketing. I was paying a lot of money for ads. And I remember there was one guy who basically gave me the highest offer ever. And I said, it's too expensive. I don't want to pay this for getting the ads out there. And he said, well, if you expect to get clients, then yes, then it's expensive. But if you want to know how to make the right decisions, it's very cheap. And I think this is the same thing we're talking about here, that you know that if people invest in, let's say, a digital twin or invest in data in some sort, then you will see that they should not expect revenue on that. They should just expect to be able to make the right decisions. Because let's be honest, if you guys knew today, if you knew 5 years ago what you know today, you would make increasingly better decisions, right? So the more data we get, the better decisions we make. And let's be honest, one decision can make or break a company or make or break a campaign. So I definitely totally agree with that, actually. So that's a very good point. So what would be the roadblocks for fulfilling that?
So I start with one roadblock. It's the biggest. So I will ask the audience, who likes change? So I think one of the biggest roadblocks is the change management and the human itself. So let go control. Giving away, when we now run for standardization across fabs, convince every general manager that he let go of control. So change management is the biggest roadblock, and that is human. So you have to work with human, you have to manage this change. And it's really this one, which does not cost invest, it costs a lot of energy, honestly, but that is one of the roadblocks. And the second is, we have to be honest, is investment, as you said. So we are now in the position that we have a fully automation, but when I look now here into the infrastructure of Penang and the ecosystem here, we have a lot of fabs and manufacturing of different ages, and automation is not there yet everywhere. But what I also recognized, as long as I'm now here, there were a lot of small companies in this ecosystem who specified exactly on how do I get this data from an older tool, bring it to a cloud, and can use AI on it. And I think there the question is, when do you start to invest? My recommendation would be take the 1 or 2 first pilots for your company, choose the right partner to pilot it. Important is, but stay with one partner, that you don't end up with 3 different versions of platforms how you do it. But with this, you can step by step roll it out. So that would be what I see. But yeah, biggest roadblock, humans.
Yes, I think it's always like that. But change management makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. What would you say is the medical R&D trends the next 5 to 10 years that's going to dominate?
Sure. Definitely, if you ask me, AI is the single largest opportunity in front of us. But I also want to remind everyone, AI or any of the technologies is just simply a tool. So if you always just think about AI, it's like you have a hammer and then everything look like a nail. AI cannot solve all the problems. There will be a human being in between, and we have to always understand the human first. So that would be the way that I see the trend. In our field, it has been this way for many, many years. We are a very old industry, and I don't see this is going to change in the next 5, 10 years.
Makes sense. And lastly, because we're running a bit out of time, but I am very curious, and I hope we can get all of us to do it, but for Mr. Chen, if there's something, because one of my biggest fears myself when I'm a panelist or if I'm speaking as a keynote at any stage. My biggest fear is always that people don't take anything home from what I said. That would what a miserable day, right? If I went up here and nobody took anything home. So if there's anything on the falling rope here that you would like, at least they took this home, what would that be within your field and towards the Industry 5.0?
Yeah, I was asked by one of my colleagues to say something that is very important, that we are going to be replaced. This is going to be very controversial. We are going to be replaced. Not because how we're going to replace with our old way of thinking, but you're going to be replaced with the new generation of doing things. My son, which is young, are doing his homework with an AI. We have to embrace it. The last link, the last person, the last group that will not going to embrace it is going to be probably you're still looking at your textbook and reading it, trying to get the answer. Whereas the other guy who is sitting beside you were able to go 3 steps forward. It's the same here in industry. And as we are going into warp speed, everything is going in. So something that we want to bring in is we have to change our mindset and says that, oh, I'm scared of this AI, I'm scared of that. But if this is part of your life eventually, we have to adopt it. Last time, everybody don't like their handphone. Now, we can't live without a handphone. So it is going to be there. That's what I would give, giving up and say that it is something that is always going to be in part of our life moving forward.
Great. So on the falling rope, I don't think we have so much more time to cover anymore, but I just want to say that I'm very flattered to be sharing stages with you guys. You guys are all incredible individuals, great capacities, and I also want to say that it's my first time ever in my life moderating anything in my life. So I hope I did okay.
You did a fantastic
I hope I
job.
did okay. I hope I did okay. But thank you for that. So with that, I'm just going to bring up Grace again, and I will say thank you so much. And can we please give a big hand of applause to the panelists as well?